Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another epic episode of BrickCityBlockade.com's podcast network, Talkin Far, Far Away. On this episode, episode 23 of the show, of course, I'm joined by my co-host and also former, well, I guess I can't say former yet because we had some technical difficulties starting off here. And it was actually quite funny because Scott was like throwing sign language at me and everything else. And I was going to say former, but obviously he is here. It's Mr. Scott. And Scott, we have some interesting tidbits about some leaked images with The Last Jedi.
Yes, we got some brand new pictures that I don't think are meant to be released just yet. So we got some nice pictures of Rey, Luke, Finn, Phasma, and Snoke.
Yeah, he's the one that I think we're going to be spending a lot of this discussion about. And of course, my personal favorite, I got the red on, the Praetorian Guards. We'll talk about them as well, of course. The rock lobsters themselves, as I like to say, the New England boiled lobster guards. Check that out with Brick City Blockade. I'm sure we'll have some more when it comes to that. But Scott, I think the first image that sticks out to me the most when I saw these when they were leaked, of course, is your man, Mr. Luke Skywalker, because we got a couple different shots. It was almost like LeBron James winning the the NBA championship, like I'm the big sports superstar kind of attitude in that first one where he's got his arms out. And then the second one was the one that I love the most with him with the wooden cane, it looked like. And he's kind of standing off the side, almost very regal-like, which is very cool to see with Luke.
Yeah, it looks like he's... Yeah, he seems to be like a bit of Yoda there with a wee walking stick. My walking stick you have. So it's curious to see what's happened in between that time. That has he got like his dad, like a fake leg, a robotic leg, which I don't think he would have. But it's interesting that he's somehow ended up with a walking stick. Maybe he's just reached old age, or what if it's kind of like Darth Maul from Rebels? He's actually concealing his lightsaber.
Right. There could be a lot more to that picture than what we've been seeing here with these leaked images. It'd be also really fascinating to see, Scott. There's just so much to Luke's outfit there. Now, earlier on, before we got any of these images, many months ago, actually, MakingStarWars.net actually put out some pictures about some of the concept art about what we believed Luke was going to look like. And I have to say, they have been spot on, MakingStarWars.net, about a lot of the leaks and some of the stuff we were going to see later on down the road here. The Luke outfit that they had leaked months before that we even had this specifically, guess what? It looks pretty similar to the outfit that was actually leaked. And it's really fascinating. I love the dark color, and I think that there's a lot of symbolism to the outfit that he has, like almost like that old man feel to him, like you mentioned there, Scott. And I think that's something that you and I have been kind of talking about, is that we want to see not necessarily a vulnerable Luke, but somebody who has been studying in the Force, very much like Yoda, in his own sanctuary on Octu, kind of seeing, where did I go wrong? What things can I work on? And now that Rey is in the picture, what things do I have to pass on? And I kind of get that old mentor feeling with this outfit and the way that he's kind of projected in this picture.
Yeah, I mean, as you're saying, Robin, the way it was described for the concept art, and also it was described throughout reports during shooting that he was wearing this kind of outfit, and the reports have been absolutely 100%. It feels like I quite like the outfit he's wearing, not the one that he's got that he wore at the end of Force Awakens and it's kind of been seen at the beginning of The Last Jedi, because that more looks like a Jedi outfit. This looks like an outfit where he's, as you said, old man, he's kind of a vulnerable kind of look, but also one that probably doesn't want people to draw attention to him, that this guy's a Jedi, because his white greyish outfit is a Jedi outfit. Just even looking at it, it's a Jedi outfit. So this one's kind of like, I can't let people know that the Jedi are still out there. Right. He doesn't want people to know, so that's why he's wearing this kind of outfit, which looks fantastic. I can't wait to get a figure with that. Maybe a hot toy? Maybe. We know how much I like hot toys. So yeah, hopefully we get something like that. It's similar, and I quite like the outfit that was described in reports about Rey's outfit, and we've got the exact same outfit that we're looking at. Her hair is very Qui-Gon Jinn, just quite weird to say that, but it's the same. And her outfit is definitely a Jedi. So how looks to me, it looks like he's trying to be undercover, not wanting people to know this is a Jedi. To Rey wearing an outfit, it looks like she is a Jedi, which is quite weird.
Yeah, and maybe that's that generational balance. Maybe again, Luke has been, of course, a Jedi for so long, and he's learned from Obi-Wan that sometimes the greatest power is the power of disguise and trying, very much like Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan's adventures, sneaking around, trying to make things happen behind the scenes in many ways. Maybe that's where Luke has learned it along the way, and Rey's more kind of like, whoa, easy there, young Padawan. You're making yourself a little too exposed right here in terms of showing that you are a Jedi with this garb. I think that they've done a nice job when specifically talking about Rey's outfit here from these leaked images, is that when you're looking at her outfit, it's a nice transition from the Jakku scavenger into this much larger world, as Maz Kanata said, this much larger world of being a Jedi, but yet at the same time keeping those feminine tones to it, very strong female look to the specific character. And I think as we've seen this character progress here, Scott, I'm starting to fall in love with that outfit specifically because I think next to Luke's outfit, it's going to be pretty badass in many different ways, if I'm going to say it, to be honest. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on it. I think you talked a little bit about it there with Rey's outfit, but again, we've seen it now in some toy collecting stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sure we're going to see it when it comes to some of the hot toys and whatever else as we get closer to The Last Jedi. It's a really cool outfit, and I think it's a lot that people are going to, of course, array around American Halloween and all these other, cosplay. It's going to be huge.
Yeah, I think the celebration will be huge. Definitely, people will be dressing like that. My question is, where she get that outfit?
Right. Yeah.
I don't think Luke keeps a supply of female outfits in Act 2. That'd be kind of weird unless Luke's a cross-dresser in his spare time, then in which case, this is definitely a new for Star Wars. So yes, the right fit does look amazing. I can't wait to see how it functions, how it's different from... she still seems to keep the kind of resonance of the Jakku outfit underneath, but in a different kind of way. But I'm interested to see how that will go forward, whether this is kind of outfit she'll be wearing for the rest of the trilogy, to episode 9, but don't have to wait to see. But I think she'll be the kind of person that has a different outfit. Like, it's kind of like the Doctor's outfit, Matt Smith's. His outfit seems to have, and John Pertwee's, and they seem to have an evolution of their outfits. Yeah. So I think this could be an evolution of Rey's outfit.
And that makes a lot of sense. It matters, as we get to know this character more. We've seen it with Luke. He went from specifically this Tatooine farm boy to now where he is this wise old Jedi, or I guess we could say Force user. We don't know, because it sounds like he's going to be taking out some Jedi or doesn't want the Jedi around that much longer. So we'll see when it comes to specifically that. But alone when it comes to Luke, we've seen a progression with him. We've seen a progression here with some of these other characters as well. And the one that I'm going to talk about right now, I think, and one of the pictures that we saw was Finn himself. We're talking about somebody who went from a First Order stormtrooper right into this much larger world, similar to Rey, where now he's wearing Poe Dameron's great jacket, but he's got kind of a smuggler tone to him. I'm seeing where Han Solo kind of rubbed off on him from The Force Awakens a little bit, that, buddy, you got to carry that blaster next to you, and you got to watch out with your mouth because you're going to get yourself in some situations. He's prepared for those situations now, and I just love his outfit because it's really, I looked at it and I was like, wow, it's kind of an homage back to the original Star Wars trilogy in some ways. It's a very, very traditional outfit. Your thoughts on that, Scott?
It's quite an interesting outfit, as you say. It is kind of like an old school Star Wars outfit, kind of what you see in Rebels and the original trilogy. I like the fact he's still wearing Finn's coat, because it feels like that was his first. Because all he's worn probably is all what the First Order gave him, like the armor, and he's no longer in the black outfit, like just the black stormtrooper undergarment that they wore. So he's, I think, and it was really that jacket he first wore. Well, originally, because he thought that Finn was killed on Jakku when he went in with the Hi-Fi. So yeah, it's nice to see he's still got that jacket. I love that jacket. I wish I could have that jacket.
Yeah, you want to talk about a jacket that's worth a pretty penny. That is one that is hard to get your hands on. And I think Finn is definitely going to be using that throughout this. And I think it's great that we're continuing that. And I think it's going, well, let me simplify that statement that I was about to say. It's just going to strengthen the relationship between Poe and Finn, no matter what part of the galaxy they're at. There's going to be that communication. There's always going to be that tie-in because of that. I just used the word tie. How funny. I meant to say TIE fighter that they ended up in Force Awakens when they were escaping, of course, Kylo Ren and General Hux to head to Jakku. So it's really great to see that connection still forming here. And when we're talking about outfits, Scott, there's one specific man that showed up in The Force Awakens. He ended up killing his father, unfortunately, and I think he is starting to try to build his outfit more around his grandfather. It's starting to seem like that, and I love some of the shots of Adam Driver as Kylo Ren here, because first you got the full leather cape, and then you have the change in the body suit that he's wearing, the garb that he has on. You have the traditional belt, but he's got what almost looks like, very similar to Vader, like a padded suit underneath everything that's happening there. And it's kind of interesting because I'm starting to get that Vader tone with what he's trying to do, but at the same time, he's just a giant Vader fanboy at the same time, Scott. I mean, that's just who Kylo Ren is.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a Vader outfit. I wasted a lot of money buying that hot toy there, didn't I? With Kylo Ren. You can tell I'm a Kylo Ren fan. I should have said that because I might get attacked. But yeah, I quite like it. I like the cape. It's definitely Vader-esque. Now the question is he going to design a helmet like his grandfather's? Are we going to see another Vader kind of helmet? I hope not, because there's only one person that can wear that helmet, and that's Anakin/Vader. But we've seen in the trailers that he does still have his original helmet. It goes well with that, and I quite like that helmet. But his outfit it's just amazing. I'm glad. Again, it's like Rey's outfit is getting an evolution. That's what I like about these kind of stories and about Star Wars itself. You see evolution. Any show, any movie, and it goes on for so long, you get an evolution. It's the same with Rebels. We've got an evolution of the characters' outfits. And Rebels, Kanan, Ezra, Hera, Zeb, and Sabine, they all had evolutionary outfits. So it just shows that the character's growing. We get to learn more about the characters, and Kylo Ren's definitely headed in that area of having his outfit similar to his grandfather's. And it's just like amazing.
As he lures himself farther down the dark side, his outfit will change. We saw it, of course, with Anakin Skywalker, specifically when it came to the prequels. We saw him go very similar to Luke, from this Tatooine slave to a boy who went from that to Attack of the Clones, which had the very traditional brown garb, to then Revenge of the Sith. Now he's starting to get the darker garb going. Now he's got the robe going. That's a little bit darker, very different from the rest of the Jedi. Naturally, it made sense that the next progression for him, if he was to become Vader, would have been the suit. We're kind of seeing that with Ren now. He started off with handmade stuff. He's now at that middle point where it's like, I'm turning myself more and more to the dark side. I got to update my look a little bit here now that I lost my original helmet as well. Be curious to see if that helmet's any different as well. Does it have different features to it at the same time? And then, of course, as we head closer to episode 9, what's going to happen with that? It's going to be fascinating to see, Scott. And I think the next character we have to talk about in terms of progression. We saw him as a hologram in The Force Awakens. And I didn't know what to expect with him. He was such a looming force, I guess you could say, in that episode. And now we get our first leaked look at Supreme Leader Snoke in the flesh, or puppet flesh, or whatever you want to call him, however he's going to be used in this specific episode. Scott, your thoughts on Snoke, because we finally got to see what this guy looks like.
Well, he's not going to be a ginormous holograph, that's for sure.
I think we got it.
I remember when I seen that in The Force Awakens, I thought, oh, is Luke going to fight that? How's he going to deal with that? He's huge. Yeah, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It's the first time out of all the pictures, that's the one it's my favourite. Am I turned to the dark side? Probably. It's my favourite. We get to see him in that nice gold, yellow, kind of Japanese kind of looking outfit, just for the collar. That's what I'm getting. I mean, we know that George Lucas had this affiliation with the samurai and all that. That's where Vader's design came from, especially with the helmet. So yeah, we'll get to see that. And Snoke's a guy that's needing really to see a doctor. I mean, look at him. He's got holes everywhere. He's got a funny looking eye thing. His eye seems to be lopsided. Something's bad's happened so bad to him that he's ended up like that.
Yeah.
We were talking offline, and I maybe throw that theory out there right now, is it could be General Huxley's father. If you've read Empire's End, you might understand where I'm going with this. We've both read it. Hope everybody else has read it and they can understand why I'm thinking that. Or he's already met Luke Skywalker before and they two have battled before, and that's why he's in that situation.
It's amazing, and you bring this up, Scott, because you and I have had this discussion on multiple occasions about who Snoke possibly could be. And of course, Steel Saunders said, your Snoke theory sucks. Everybody has their theories when it comes to Snoke. But I'm going to say it right here, right now. When I was looking at Snoke in these leaked images, there was something familiar about the face. I kept looking at it, not like a creep looking at it, like kept staring into his eyes, but I kept looking at it, and there was just something familiar about it. I don't know what it was, but there is something more to Snoke that we have yet, and it could be somebody from the novels. It could be somebody like Brendel Hux. It could be somebody that we've been introduced to somewhere, and maybe that's the familiarity of it, is because you and I, of course, and many Star Wars fans who listen to us, they read the canon, and there's just something there. And I'll be curious to see, as we get closer to The Last Jedi, if we start getting more leaks about stuff, and then we finally find out who he is, what he is, or maybe he's nothing. But again, there's something familiar about Snoke. I don't know where it's stemming from, but there's something there, and we'll find out what happens, Scott. I don't know if there was just something unusual about this character, I think, that we haven't seen yet in Star Wars alone.
Yeah.
You know, it was a little bit like the Emperor, but at the same time, its own unique twist on it.
I mean, I've seen a lot of people saying it looks like Ezra, but I don't think it's Ezra. It doesn't. Just about a timeline, yeah, it can kind of hook up a bit. Ezra, because we don't know what happens at the end of Rebels, so we can't really say, oh, it's Ezra. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from as well. It does have that kind of familiar look at, like, we've seen this guy before, or read about this guy before, but I don't know where. I just can't put my finger on it. I would like to think it's in one of the novels. I've just overlooked it, maybe in Bloodline.
Yeah,
that's the closest I can think. It's there. But hey, the baby's out in 4 months' time, 4 or 5 months' time, so we'll finally get an answer, or hopefully we'll get some more information trickling out, and Ryan Johnston would say, "Look at this area, look at that area." He was involved in Bloodline. Well, he had when you see all the footage is coming out of, like, what's in The Last Jedi and what you've read in Bloodline, you kind of start to get that feel that there's something there.
Yeah.
So, those that haven't read Bloodline, read it now.
Yeah, now you have to, because we've discussed it on multiple occasions, on multiple episodes, and we've also talked about Empire's End, of course, in our review. You guys can go back. If you're just catching up with the canon, of course, check out Scott's canon timeline for everything involved in the Star Wars canon itself, and make sure to check out a review of that as well, because, Scott, you're absolutely right. We're going to get more tidbits. I said it before. I'm going to say it again. We're going to get more tidbits about Snoke as we get closer. And it is important that this canon is being manipulated and worked on by everybody in this franchise, and everybody involved in Lucasfilm and Star Wars and Disney. Everybody is a moving piece in this equation. And as we get closer and closer, again, we're going to find out more. And again, maybe something else will pop up. It seems like we're just getting random Star Wars stuff leading up to The Last Jedi and Force Friday here. Of course, you got your Force Friday shirt on. Anyway, so it's really cool. And actually, it's most appropriate that you're wearing that because there's one character that I'm really, really excited for in Force Friday, and Mr. Brian Fontaine is already sick of me talking about him. It's the Praetorian Guards who are going to be serving Supreme Leader Snoke, and we got their shots in these leaked photos as well. And it looks like there's multiple types of Praetorian Guards at the same time, Scott. Different types of staffs, and very similar. I'm so glad you brought up, because we all love Dave Hackerson here at the network and everything that he's doing over in Japan. And he always makes connections between Star Wars and Japanese history and culture, because these Praetorian Guards, Scott, are exactly what he speaks about on a regular basis, that George Lucas influence. And it's just so great to see, almost like the nunchucks with the blades on them and everything. I can't wait to see these things in action. And these shots are, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe we're only going to see them for like 1 second, and they're just going to market the heck out of them and stuff. Yeah. But they're just so cool, and it's just such a great reminder that, you know what, Rian Johnson is not afraid to go back to Star Wars roots, that he's not afraid to go back into the George Lucas book. Maybe go to somebody like Dave Filoni and say, well, you know, what was George doing at that time? Well, you know, when we're talking about the time of Clone Wars, what were some of the concepts that he really wanted to see play out in Star Wars? I'm getting that kind of feel with these guards, and I'm getting that feel with Rian Johnson now that we've seen these images.
Yeah, I've quite liked the design of the guards. They're very similar to what the Emperor had. And if you've read Lords of the Sith, his guards had that similar feel, because they were all stuck on Ryloth after the Emperor's Star Destroyer went down. Or was it Shuttle? I'll need to reread it. But yeah, when they were stuck on Ryloth, his guards had those kind of things where they had blades and that, and they protect the Emperor. So we know we're going to get something where, are they going to be part of Phasma, or are they going to be part of Snoke, like if in a battle somewhere? But they look amazing, and you said it yourself. Yep, they're very samurai. I'm getting maybe feeling that this is going to be kind of like a samurai kind of era of Star Wars, where all the kind of designs are getting.
Yeah, I think Star Wars, and we talked about it, Brian, Sean, and I at our panel at Nashville Comic Fest. Scott, I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on this. And we were talking with the fans there, and we were talking specifically at this time about the sizzle reel. And there was an original report that came out that at, I believe it was D23 when we got the sizzle reel and everything, there was a lot of reports from people who knew what was going on with the sizzle reel, people who had seen the first cut of the sizzle reel before they released it months beforehand, mentioned that there was a slight chance that we might have seen these Praetorian Guards in action in the sizzle reel, whether it would have been just a quick, you know, there's the camera, there's the guard, here's the backdrop that they're going to use, just something really quick just to kind of introduce them. I'm kind of glad we didn't get that now. I'm kind of glad we didn't get that, because just an image of them alone is such a great thing. And Sean, Brian, and myself talked about it, is that this just adds an extra level of gravitas to what Rian Johnson is doing on this project. It's new, it's fresh looking, and I think it's such a great way, coming off of everything you and I have talked about with the Han Solo film and everything that's been floating around, to be like, hoorah, Last Jedi, let's hop on this wagon right now.
Yeah, it's great. I like your use of gravitas. Thank you, John Rooker. Just don't do Transformers. So yes, what were we talking about?
We're talking about Praetorian Guards, my friend.
Praetorian Guards, yes. Yeah, because we never saw them a day. But then you mentioned that when we saw Rey in the scissor reel, or Daisy was training with a lightsaber, and 3 people attacking. I wonder if that's the guards attacking her.
Oh man! Oh, that was epic.
I connected the dots here.
Yes, Scott is connecting the dots on episode 23 of Talkin' Far, Far Away. I love it. There's just so many great shots. Scott, if you were to choose one specific image from this collection of images, what's the one that stands out to you the most out of these, and which one gets you excited the most?
Snoke. Snoke's the one that's getting me excited right now. Because other than seeing him in a holographic form, we actually get to see him for real, and we'll get a wee bit more advanced story. And I'm curious to see if you've seen War of the Planet of the Apes recently.
Yeah.
Andy Serkis did a fantastic job in that, even though he did stuff on Lord of the Rings and he's done the other Apes movies. But after him doing that, it gives me more confidence in what he's going to do with Snoke in this one. Far more confidence. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out. It's a new character, or is that an old character? Don't get me wrong, Luke, Rey, the guards, Finn, Phasma, Kyle were all good. I enjoyed them, but we've seen pictures of them before. But this is Snoke. This is the first picture we're getting, and I cannot wait.
I totally agree with you. I think out of all these images, the one that everybody I've talked to, they always go to the Snoke one, it seems like. On occasion, I've been talking with people, and they say that Rey, Finn, Luke, but it seems like everybody is just so enticed by the Snoke image, and I have to agree with you. Snoke is the one that's most appealing to me specifically from these, is because he is such a mystery. We know about Finn now. Rey, we kind of have a mystery about her, but at the same time, we know who she is now. We have a pretty good idea about who Kylo Ren is at this point, I think. And then the Praetorian Guards and Snoke are kind of together in the same bandwagon. It's like we don't know anything about them. And anytime we can get a leaked image, any kind of information about these people, is when we have to discuss it, no matter where we are, because it's just enough to whet our palate as we get closer to The Last Jedi. And Snoke is such an important factor in this equation, because without Snoke throughout this, there wouldn't have been Kylo Ren. There really would not have been a backstory to Force Awakens. There is something looming about Snoke, and now seeing him in person just excites me even more. So I'm on your bandwagon when it comes. I'm on the Snoke bandwagon, like Scott, when it comes to these images. So we'll be curious to hear what your thoughts on these images are. Please head on over to Twitter at BrickCitySWPC. We'll have a poll up there for you guys to vote on what your favorite image was. Or if you don't like leaked image specifically, we'll put a spoiler warning up and everything else so that you don't have to get involved in any of the spoiler talk if you don't like to. Because one of the things here at the network is we don't necessarily like to be spoilery, but there's a pretty good chance you ran across these images no matter where you were looking throughout this week. Scott, I think it's that time of the show. It's a little thing we like to call...
let me think. It's plug time?
Is it plug time? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's plug time.
It is plug time. Where can the good people find you across social media?
You can find me on Facebook at Scottish or Twitter at Scottish85. And Robin, it's 2 months to go to my great American vacation, or as I call it, just a holiday.
So excited for that. 2 months away. You guys have been following along. There's going to be so much stuff when Scott comes over to America. We're going to be following it step by step, not step by step. That's a little creepy. But at the same
not when I'm sleeping. Not when I'm sleeping. That's all I like my time alone to sleep.
So you guys can check out everything with Scott's great American holiday or vacation, whichever you prefer, whether you're from Europe or America or even Canada, to say that the least. So you guys can follow me over on Twitter at Mr. Vote Tweets. Make sure to head on over to Instagram. Follow me at The Official Vote. Head on over to BrickCityBlockade.com for everything happening in the Star Wars universe, whether it's news or our latest episodes of our podcast. And please make sure to head on over to iTunes, subscribe to us, leave a comment, and please make sure to leave a rating. We'd love to see what you guys are thinking about our content, what your thoughts are on our content, and where we can improve along the way to give you guys the best Star Wars experience. So please make sure to leave a comment and a rating, whether it's 1 star, whether it's 5 stars, because Scott is such a good-looking man. He's sitting there right in front of you. Please leave a rating on the Brick City Blockade Podcast Network on iTunes. And as we always say here at the Podcast Network, thank you for watching Talkin' Far, Far Away, episode 23. And we'll see you soon. May the Force be with you.
Always.